Good morning, students. Today we will conduct our first lecture on automobile air conditioning. So first of all, we will see principles of heating and refrigeration. Now, why is essential? This is essential in order to maintain the comfort condition for passengers in the vehicle. Second important thing is there are certain commodities which are perishable and they have a very short span of shelf life. So in order to store these perishable commodities or transport these perishable commodities in long distances, certain conditions such as room conditions should be maintained. That could be a uniform temperature. Okay. So in such conditions, the shelf life, the span of shelf life of these perishable items is increased. That is why there is a, we can say, a huge need of heating and refrigeration in automobile industry. So first of all, we will see what is the principle of operation of such system. If we take the example of water we can say exists in solid, liquid and vapor phase depending upon the temperature and pressure exerted on it. Now, next important thing is the change of state. A solid cannot be compressed and has strong resistance to flow. The molecules of a solid attract each other strongly and resist changes in volume and shape. A substance is solid at any temperature below its melting point. The melting point is a characteristic of a substance and temperature at which solid turns liquid. For water, melting point is 32 degree Fahrenheit. A liquid is a substance that cannot be compressed. A substance in a liquid state has fixed volume but no definite shape. The boiling point is the temperature at which a solid substance turns to a vapor. For water at normal sea level, the boiling point is 212 degree Fahrenheit, that is 100 degree centigrade. And finally, vapor, which can be easily compressed, has no resistance to flow and no fixed volume. It is considered a fluid just like liquids are. A substance changes to a vapor if the temperature rises above its boiling point. A vapor condenses to liquid if the temperature falls below it, like melting and freezing. Boiling point and condensation point are the same temperature and vary with pressures. Now, next important point is what is meant by heat and temperature. The molecules vibrate rapidly in all directions. Disorganized energy is called as heat. The intensity of vibration depends on kinetic energy or energy of motion the atom or molecule contains. We measure the level of this energy as temperature. So, what is the difference between heat and temperature? So heat is a form of energy. Okay. And what is the magnitude of the energy which is possessed by that matter? Okay. That level is indicated by the temperature. Okay. Heat and temperature are not the same. Heat is measured in calories. A calorie is a metric unit for the amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water 1 degree centigrade. So this both are not the same things. Heat is measured in calories, and it tells us the amount of heat. 1 calorie is nothing but the amount of heat needed to rise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree centigrade. Okay, heat is also measured in British thermal units, that is BTU. 1 BTU is heat required to raise temperature of 1 pound of water by 1 degree Fahrenheit at sea level. And 1 BTU equals to 252 calories. Now, there is one simple question. Why is liquid sprayed from a can cold? Okay. Now, if you spray a can of liquid continuously, the can becomes cold and the liquid being sprayed becomes cold. This becomes cold because the pressure in the can is reduced while spraying, allowing the liquid propellant inside the can to boil and absorb heat. The liquid being sprayed has also been cooled by the liquid propellant. The propellant vapor is further cooled as it decompresses when it hits open air. This rapid decompression results in a rapid temperature drop. Now, the next important point is latent heat. Okay. Now, what is the concept of latent heat? The extra heat that is needed to transform a substance from one state to another. When a solid reaches a melting point or a liquid reaches the boiling point, this temperature stops rising. The solid begins to melt and liquid begins to boil. This occurs without any change in temperature, even though heat is still being added. This extra heat, that is the hidden amount of energy necessary to change the state of substance, is called as latent heat. Latent heat is important in air conditioning system operation because the cooling effect is derived from changing the state of liquid refrigerant to a vapor. The refrigerant absorbs latent heat of vaporization, cooling the air blown into the passenger compartment. You take away the heat to cool the air. Now what happens whenever any liquid, okay, we are heating, the liquid will reach a state of 100 degrees centigrade. You can measure this by inserting the thermometer in that liquid. And you can observe one important thing is that even though you are adding more heat, the temperature does not change. It remains still at 100 degrees centigrade. You are adding the heat, but temperature remains constant. What is this phenomenon? But we can see one important thing, that is the liquid is changing into vapor, and this is due to the addition of heat, and the heat which is added in this process is called as a latent heat. A latent heat cannot be measured by a thermometer. We can sense the latent heat by the phenomena of change of state of the substance. Okay. Now see here, this is a simple diagram. Okay. Now this is a water. Okay. So how much is this amount of water? It is 1 gram of water. It is maintained at 212 degrees centigrade. We are adding heat. The heat is 540 calories. Okay. So what we get? we get 1 gram vapor. So this is a simple logic. Water plus this much amount of heat, we get this much amount of vapor. And you can see in both these cases, in both the cases, the temperature is constant. It is 212 degree Fahrenheit. Now, next important thing is one gram of vapor plus 540 calories equal to 1 gram of water. Okay. Now, what does it tells? The latent heat of vaporization that water vapor stores is given off when the vapor condenses to liquid. So here, what we are here we have there is some small typo here. It should be negative minus. When we take the heat from this 1 gram of water by 540 calories, we get 1 gram of water. Okay, this heat, this is 1 gram of vapor from which we are taking away the 540 calories of heat. And what we get? There is a condensation of water. We get here water. Now, so next important thing is temperature, volume, and pressure of a vapor. Unlike a solid, a vapor has no fixed volume. Increasing temperature of a vapor while keeping the volume confined in the same space increases the pressure. So, what is happening? If there is a gas and this gas is not having a particular volume, okay, and if this is gas is kept in a closed container and we are giving the heat to this container, what is going to happen? The volume of that gas does not changes, but what is happening? The pressure inside the container, that closed vessels, increases. This relationship between temperature and pressure in vapor is why a can of non-flammable refrigerant can explode when heated by a flame. So what happens? There is a certain tendency that some cans get exploded. What happens? This can catch the heat from the atmosphere. The inside the gas gets heated, builds up the pressure, and if the container is not able to withstand such pressures, it gets exploded. Okay. Pressure built up inside the can will eventually exceed the can's ability to contain the pressure. Now see here, increasing pressure by compressing a vapor increases the temperature, and decreasing pressure by permitting expansion of vapor decreases the temperature. So what happens whenever you are means increasing the pressure? Now take the simple example of the your tire. In tire, you are filling the air by certain compressor. So what is happening? You are putting more and more air in that tire. So the pressure in the tire gets increases. Okay. Now what happens whenever you are putting more and more air in that tire and its pressure is increasing, the temperature inside that air is also increasing. Now what happens whenever you are decreasing the pressure, means you are opening the valve and you are letting air to go from the tire. So what you are doing in this process, you are doing the expansion. It is the opposite of compression is opposite, that is expansion. Take the, you are seeing the example of a tire. In the tire, we are putting the air, we are compressing this system. And when we are opening the valve, the air gets expanded, means the air is moving from the tire to the atmosphere. And this process is known as the expansion process. In this expansion process, what is happening? We are decreasing the pressure, okay, and correspondingly the temperature also decreases. Next important thing is pressure temperature relationship. Two aspects are important for understanding the operation of a HVAC system. First important thing is the temperature at which a liquid boils and vapor condenses, rises and falls with the temperature. Now see here, which one is the thing? Okay, that could be water. The water, we give the heat, the water boils. Okay, but you should take into consideration that if the pressure on the water is increased, okay, now this changes the boiling point. This one is so the temperature at which the boiling point, the temperature at which the water boils is dependent on the pressure on that water. You change the pressure, the temperature at which the water boils changes. And pressure in the seal system that contains both liquid and vapor rises and falls with the temperature. Now, whenever we are, if there is one container and in that container we have kept the pressurized fluid, so what happens? The pressure of this liquid or vapor which is kept in that container, that also changes with the change in the temperature. These two are the basic fundamentals on which this HVAC are operating. Humidity. What is meant by a humidity? Humidity refers to water vapor present in air. The level of humidity depends upon water vapor present and temperature of the air. Now, next important thing is the absolute humidity. So, humidity you call as amount of water vapor which is present in the air. Now, absolute humidity is the measurement of the weight of water vapor in a given volume of air. Relative humidity is the percentage of how much moisture is present in the air compared to how much moisture the air is capable of holding at that temperature. Relative humidity is commonly measured with a hygrometer or a psychrometer. A hygrometer uses sensitive element that expands and contracts based on the humidity. Hygrometers resemble a clock with a scale reading from 0 to 100% relative humidity. Now see here, this is our psychrometer. Now this psychrometer has two thermometer. One with the bulb covered in a cotton wick soaked in distilled water from a built-in reservoir. Here are two thermometers. This one is the dry thermometer. This one is the wet thermometer. This wet thermometer is bulb is covered with a cotton wick. Okay. The dry bulb thermometer which gives us the dry bulb temperature and wet bulb thermometer which gives us the wet bulb temperature. Okay, means now see here, water evaporates from the wick at a rate which is inversely proportional to relative humidity of the air. Faster if the humidity is low and slower the humidity is high. The dry thermometer registers ordinary day temperature. Higher the relative humidity, closer the readings of two thermometers. Lower the humidity, greater is the difference. The different temperatures are compared to a chart which gives relative humidity. Now see here, this was our first lecture on the air conditioning system. We have seen the basic concepts of the pressure, temperature, okay, and their relationship. Okay, we have seen what is the concept of latent heat. We have seen the what is the this significance of this heat and temperature. Okay, now we have seen what is meant by this this sling thermometer. Okay, what is this relative humidity, what is the significance of this relative humidity. Okay, so in the next lecture we will be seeing the next part of this air conditioning systems. Okay.